Go back to your roots, African children. Go back to your roots. Write a hybrid constitution that collects your history, that understands your present environment, that focuses into the future, and come up with a model that works. But for now, I can tell you, Africa needs benevolent dictators who must have a clear project plan. What is it that I want to do? How am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? With who am I going to do it? Who are vigorous in implementation. We don't want more democratic workshops. We want development. We want development. We don't want more campaigns and slogans. We want development. We don't want more manifestos. We want development. Let your development do the campaigning for you. Don't tell us, vote for me, vote for me. What have you done? What are you doing? And what will you do? That's all. I don't know who told the African that democracy is the only way in which you can govern yourselves. But from Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, to Nelson Mandela in South Africa, to Sam Nujoma in Namibia, to Samora Machel in Mozambique, from Biya to Nigeria. You tell me which country in Africa has had a democratic system and they have survived. Someone wants to stand up and say, oh, well, we have Rwanda. No, Rwanda is a special case. After the genocide, they created their own benevolent dictatorship model with Kagame running that country, and it's working for them. Less the human rights and other things you can scream and squirm around, granted. But the country is running. One of the cleanest cities in the world is Rwanda. The leader who is there knows what he wants and gets it done. The country and the economy has grown. Here we are, from Botswana to Zimbabwe to Zambia, being terrorized by democratically elected leaders that at the end of the day, we cannot hold them accountable to their behaviors. And we still insist that democracy will work. So Zimbabwe has got a 2/3 majority with ZANU-PF. They are now in government. Done a good job on the elections. Gathered themselves enough voting power within the parliament. And now they want to extend the year of termination from 5 years to 7 years. Whoever came up with 3-year term, or came up with 5-year term, or came up with 7 years, or came up with 15 years, in the hands of China, came up with how many years, we don't care. At the end of the day, whoever came up with that principle, came up with the principle when it was relevant at that moment to do it. ZANU-PF now has the instruments of power in their hands. And they want to extend with an extra 2 years to make it 7 years. And then the whole country, and some of my learned friends in the academic space, some of my learned lawyers, not excluding the Ostaloses, not excluding the Chamisas, not excluding the BTs, not excluding the Moyos, not excluding the intellectuals, so to speak, talking about our constitution, that must be protected. Hey man, listen up man. The constitution is a piece of paper. It has no wife, it has no child, it has no blood, it does not breathe, it does not feel pain. It's a piece of paper, which was written by people, which can be rectified by people. And when you, in opposition politics, decide to do opposition politics in opposition to the government, and you are outside the government, in the very system that changes alters and can actually afford to edit the Constitution. When the Constitution is being edited and you are outside and your votes are not inside, who do you want to blame? Who do you want to blame? Because the system which you think can work, the democratic system, is in parliament. But you are not in parliament. You are in your air-conditioned offices. You are on WhatsApp and you are on Facebook. You are sending your messages to your handlers. And politics is happening in the parliament of Zimbabwe. And you are not there to oppose these rectifications. How do you think that your will, quote unquote, and the will of the people that you represent will be represented well? You want to go back to striking and running on the streets, that the policies have been adjusted against your will, but you don't want to participate in the very same system that delivers what you want? I don't know how best I can help you as my fellow Zimbabweans. Get into the political machinery. Influence them from inside. Raise your hands within the parliamentary procedures if you want this thing to work. Oppose or support whichever direction you take. But you cannot be running opposition politics from outside of the parliament, and decisions are being made from the inside. You're smoking your socks. ZANU-PF has already come from its referendums and it's come from its conference where they made an approval that they want E.D. Mnangagwa to proceed to 2030, to give him the 7 years. Why are they justifying that? They say that the economy is getting better, which is a fact. They say that inflation has dropped, which is a fact. There's food on the shelves, hallelujah. Petrol in our tanks, it's okay. The economy of Zimbabwe, somehow it's stabilizing. And the ZANU-PF party feels if they change horses right now, they may cause unnecessary jitteries in the economy. Justified. That's a political decision. And they made a decision that they want Mnangagwa to extend to 2030. Of course, it is politically convenient. From 1980 to 2030, it gives them a beautiful, beautiful exit off of 50 years in power, 50 years celebration. And this era of comrades running the government will be folded nicely as they hand over the country to the next coming generation. I would personally find some sense in that. But for opposition leaders to think that they can change the system without being part of the system, this is where I doubt very much if there will be any traction out of that. Over and above that, I would want to address ZANU-PF directly without mixing my words. Now that we have 2/3 majority, bravo. Can we also see 2/3 development? Can we see 2/3 development? You have the budget, you have the political machinery, you have taxes, you have police, CIOs, the whole system is now in your hands. What excuse do you have? What excuse do you have for not delivering services to the people? I'll tell you your problem. Yes, ZANU-PF. The government is working. Those are employees, public servants. The problem is when the budgets are approved by the government, instead of them going to service deliverers, engineers, and those who are able to implement the projects, the budget is going into the hands of the politicians. The very same MPs, very same government officials who have political offices, they take the budgets of the government and those budgets don't reach the people. Case in point, Mnangagwa releases seeds, fertilizers into the community. The very people who must distribute these to the communities, they know there is farm number 173 there. I'm from Bikita. Farm number 173 there. Farm number 175, 182, 186. They have a small little stupid list that they have in their hands. I don't know who wrote it. Then they give those that come for the meetings, that receive SMSs, and they take the rest of that fertilizer and the rest of those seeds, and they distribute and they give and they sell for their own benefit. It's a fact. I am on farm 173 in Bikita right now. I've not received a bag of fertilizer which arrived at Makura. Pamakura pangupaya yakabuya fertilizer. Nembe ikashika. Who took it? How it went? Where it is? Only the politicians would know. So we have the government functioning. Politicians, some of them are ignorant. Some of them are incompetent. Some of them are thieves. Some of them are thugs. Some of them are corrupt. They do not allow the program that the president has advised, is championing to do. They have become the blocked sewage through which services cannot reach the common people. I have it in good confidence that the road to Bikita, the budget has been approved twice, if not 3 times. But the politicians in the Bikita council have been eating the money with the contractors. They corrupt the contractors, eat the money. The road is not done. When we speak as the civil society, then we are told, hey, don't speak too loudly. Vanamtodi vanosenga futi. Hey, vanozokudhura nefuti. Hey, unofamfana wakutambira kunonyudza. No, you're playing with fire now. You're going to be killed because we have started name calling people. No, I'm not name calling him. He is my MP. He is my MP. Mutodi is my MP. Unless and until he resigns as an MP of Bikita, I have a right. He is voted by my constituency to be in the office that he is holding. And as such, we must hold him accountable to what he said he was going to deliver. So the programs of ZANU-PF, the 2030 program, will not filter to the people as long as politicians are claiming to have skills of implementing programs that they don't know. We don't need slogans. We need engineers to fix roads. We need engineers to fix water. We need doctors to build clinics. We need manpower, skilled manpower that can filter through the political voices and come where the masses are. For 57 years, I'm here, born and bred, Bikita, P.O. Box 4, B. Bikita, Maswingo. I've not seen a single grader, a single truck fixing the road between Bikita and Benzi. It cleans somewhere on top there. The other day it cleans over there. Then 2 days later, there's a collapse. They just put it on the face just to bribe. That road remains undone. Yet it is one of the breadbasket routes, if it can be developed, that can bring change to the country. Why do I say that? There is a dam, Sia Dam, that was built in the 1920s, 1930s. There's Manjerenje Dam, there's Kosi Mtokwe. There's a canal that runs through from Tokwe Mkosi and Manjerenje, which waters Triangle, which waters Chiredzi, which waters Mkwasini. Sia Dam was also built on the top side, so that another canal will be developed, which then runs from Nyarumwe straight through Ngorima, Bikita, joining up in Bambaninga, into Benzi, in Devure, and joins Mkwasini. By so doing, we're able to create a green belt, whether it's a sugar belt or it's a soya beans belt. The water is already there. Sia Dam is there. The project and contract is already there. The plans are there. Sitting in the Department of Lands or the Department of Water, Rural Development, I don't know who amongst the ministers out there is sitting on that plan, written by the Smith regime. It's on fire. Who will implement it to transform the lives of the people that are there? Then you put some small little silly canal up in Papanganai there, in the rural communities where people have half a hectare, 1 hectare each, half a hectare, 1 hectare each. The design between Tugwi and Mjiche was that those farms would actually have a canal so that the people in the reserves would come and work on the farms and create a bread basket. Right there. You have more than 300 farms. Beautiful land. But that's why I'm saying this democratic system does not work. I want to challenge Honorable Emerson Mnangagwa, please, with your Minister of Lands, Rural Development, Minister of Water, please find those plans. You have my full permission to become a dictator, to implement that program. Implement that program. Yes, I see you writing AES. I believe that. I believe that Traore and the team that is in Burkina Faso, in the Sahel state, Mali and Niger, I was there, doing a beautiful job. Change the government into a military operation where people come, yes, sir. Have you done the job? Yes, sir. Run, come back. Is it done? Yes, sir. If they are not working, fire them. Fire them. We don't have an emotional contract with lazy people. The failure of Zimbabwean government is in the hands of corrupt, evil, incompetent ZANU-PF cadres. Some of the most corrupt people in Zimbabwe are those in ZANU-PF uniforms. They have no respect for the president. They have no respect for the party. They have no respect for the communities. And they have no respect for themselves. How do you buy a 4x4? Because you don't want to fix the road. The transformation and the rectification of the policy and the government constitution will happen with or without you. Why? Because you are outside of the system. You have become noisemakers. Come into the system. Come into the government. Come there into the instruments of power. Be involved in transforming your country. And I'm saying this not only for Zimbabwe, but for all other African countries, including my young man in Uganda, Bobby Wine. Swallow that bitter pill. Get into the government with a few votes that you have. Go and start getting yourself acclimatized to the government machinery. Chamisa, stop making noise outside. BT, go into the parliament. Get inside. Learn. Adopt. Transform. Let's not always have opposition. Let's also have alternative views. And finally, the nail on the coffin. We have the Munumutapa Trust now in Zimbabwe. You cannot have Munumutapa Trust without Munumutapa. Point of departure. You are restoring legacy. The question is, whose legacy? Operation Restore Legacy. Whose legacy? The real legacy we are looking at, it is the glory of the great Zimbabwe. And now that you've been able to set up the Munumutapa Trust, which is now the custodian of our land, I would wish to make this clear. We must move the land from the government to the Munumutapa Trust. And all the 12 legal kings, I'm not talking about these trophies that were put by the Smith regime and they were put in by Chombo and other government officials for political expediency. And they are just as good as the problems that they create. 12 legitimate royal houses that are in Zimbabwe. Call them together. Put your president there. Remove the title of president. Make him CEO. Or make him governor. And while he is governor, he answers to the traditional leaders who are the owners and custodians of the land on behalf of the whole nation. Because even this land reform and land tenure issue has some backslash on it. What are we going to do now that we are giving land to our friends who are comrades in ZANU-PF and in the army and in the police, and we are giving them land, but originally this land belonged to other people whom you are still ignoring as the political and the ruling party? What are you going to do? Because basically we're having an exchange of hands from one hand into the other, but never into the rightful hands. So we'll need to find out exactly when you went to war, what were you fighting for? We're fighting for land. To do what with it? To give it to its rightful owners. Who are the rightful owners? identify those rightful owners as government become the CEOs that are actually taking instructions from the owners of the land on how they want to be governed. Then I think that will close the story. The bank, the Reserve Bank, will sit in Unimplementable Trust. The National Insurance will sit in Unimplementable Trust. The country itself will be decentralized into progress and development. Hear me in my madness. Leave Harare as the capital city of judiciary. Department of Education, move it to Gweru. There's Mambo Press there already. The Department of Mining, move it to Kwekwe. The Department of Agriculture, move it to Mutare. The Department of Tourism, move it to Victoria Falls. The Department of Arts and Culture, move it to Masvingo. The Department of Economic Affairs, move it to Bulawayo. Department of Women Affairs, move it to Bedbridge. Department of Youth and what, move it to Chinhoyi. Now imagine when you decentralize the capital city mindset, you are able to move all these big ministries into smaller cities, and the ministries themselves are able to see the development in those areas. Right now, you have a capital city which is attracting everybody from the country, and the infrastructure of the capital city cannot contain the whole country. Harare cannot house 25 million people. Impossible. You don't have enough power. You don't have enough water. You don't have enough roads. You don't have enough houses. It will not happen. Right now, at about 1.2, 1.3 million people in Harare, there's already stress. Roads are full. Water is scarce. Electricity is flicking up and down. Everyone from the rural areas, everyone wants to come to Harare. But when you decentralize the capital city, you are able to see the fiscus of the country being equally distributed even to the most remote countries. Put a ministry out in Gokwe there. Put a ministry up in Gokwe. Put another one in Mzarabani, somewhere out there in the midst of nowhere. What's the use of putting everything around Harare and all our resources are coming to Lusaka, coming to Nairobi, coming to Dar es Salaam, coming to Ouagadougou, coming to Johannesburg? Can't you learn? Does not work. The white people built these cities for themselves and a few black slaves. You are coming now and you're filling up all this small little Uno with a whole 65 passengers. How do you think you're going to drive? There's no amount of money for you to bring Harare to the standard you're talking about. I'm not mixing my words. You need more than $8-9 billion to put this infrastructure, to house the present population with all the services. And while you are building Harare, what is happening to the rest of the world? Decentralize capital city mentality. Decentralize. Move the government offices out of this common space called Harare. And take note, this can be done in any African countries. Abuja, beautiful city, after Lagos. Is it not working? Is it not working? All it takes is to move away capital city mindset to smaller communities. Then the whole country. You are in Mozambique, we don't have to wait for Maputo. Put offices in Beira. Put offices in Venanculus. Put offices in Machpanda. Put offices in Chimoyi. You're in Tanzania. Put offices in Buitima. You're in Kenya. Put offices in Wakuru. Put offices in Kirinyaga. Decentralized capital city. You're in Zambia. Move away from. Put offices in Livingstone, in Kitwe, in Kabwe, in Dola, there. Move away from the capital city. Capital city is capitalism in it. And the infrastructure of the capitalist cannot contain the whole country. So you cannot abandon us in the village because you're taking all our taxes and building your super highways in the cities. Now Harare must become a Wi-Fi friendly city. No, we're improving the lights in Harare. No, we're going to be planting more plants. We're not even looking for plants, for crying out loud. All we want is a road and clean water, education, basic services. And while you are busy improving your services in capital cities, the people in the rural areas are slowly and constantly getting disgruntled, and they are not happy. And I am one of them. I'm not happy. The villagers, common people, and you politicians, stop addressing us somehow. Oh, with the poor people, the indigent, the disadvantaged, the rural communities, the underprivileged, all these names that you call people who actually vote you into power, and you have the audacity of calling them the poorest of the poor, the indigent, the disadvantaged. Wow. Forget where you come from, yeah? Forget where you come from. Poor politician. Zimbabwe must throw away the constitution. Throw it away to the dustbin. Rewrite a hybrid constitution that speaks to the needs that you have as a country. And I recommend Munumtaba Trust must have a CEO. We don't want a president here. We must have a CEO who runs this country like a business. Run it like a business. Where we can hire and fire. We want a president who can be answerable to us. We don't want a president that we are afraid of. We want a president we can answer to. Now put that in the constitution. The 12 kings and queens will sit around the president and ask him, Pazimba, can you get it fixed for us? Kubikita, can you fix it for us? Can you fix it for us? Kuwange, kuguruwe, kuchituri pasi, kuno kutsokoto, no kuno kushishinya, and we tell him, his job description. His job description is not to fly around in countries and be signing treaties that we don't know what is in there. We want him to answer to some people. Be answerable to us. We are the people. So I don't even care about this 2030 story. I'm actually advocating for 2050, 2060. But we want a workhorse, someone that can work to get things done. This whole political, democratic demagogy of hierarchy has created superhuman beings who in many cases, slowly and surely and gradually become irrelevant to their own communities. So if you want transformation in your countries, change the constitution. Change the constitution. Redefine who is who owns what, and who must do what, when, where, and how, and who does he answer to. Until you put those checks and balances, many of our African presidents, they actually behave like kings. Because that's what we know as Africans. We know kings. We don't know presidents. That's why all African presidents, they want to be treated like kings. Because that is the DNA of the African. So why not do what is in your DNA? And if democracy was working, then why did we go to war? Why? Why did we have to fight for it? Why did not give it to us for free? Oh, there's unrest in the community. No, democracy will work. No, please, call them together. Give them the parliament. From South Africa to Algeria to Nigeria, we all fought for democracy. To an extent, I actually believe that Africans are teaching the Europeans what democracy is all about. Because in other instances, they would not have survived after the war. The amount of destruction they caused amongst us is unbearable. To live with them in harmony, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, after their destruction, it's only grace of democracy that they can clap hands for. So throw away this. Don't be led astray by these educated young boys and girls who come around speaking lots of big English. Our constitution, our economy, the policy subsection 193, subsection 58, and section 2795, it says, hey, you've never called your children for a meeting because you want to make their mother pregnant. Democracy does not work, even at an elementary family level. How then do you think that it can work even at an organizational level? The companies, the company owners, they've never called employees to come and vote for who must be the CEO of the company. It is the shareholders, the owners of the company, who decide who to put in power. How much more do you think you can have a democratic system in the government, which is unimplementable at an organizational level, unimplementable at a community level, unimplementable at a family level? There's nowhere where is democracy. Even women who talk about family planning, they've never consulted their husbands when they are doing family planning. They plan by themselves. Now I talk about democracy. It's just a crazy little idea I have for you for today. Just do it. Just do it. You're right, Mr. Dunn. Howard Dunn. You're right, my brother. Just do it. When you hear a husband saying, hey, it's me, I'm the husband here, I'm the man here, you have failed. Just father. Hey, I'm the teacher here, I'm the teacher here. Shut up, just teach. Hey, I'm the mother here, I'm the wife here. No, shut up, just be a wife. Don't tell us of who you are. Do it. Life is not about nouns. Life is about verbs. Do the verbs, we will give you the nouns. Do the verbs. Do the activities. We will find, just start taking people's things. We will call you a thief. That's it. Take that. By the time you're doing it for the third time, we give you a name. You are a thief. Let your verbs attract your nouns. Let your verbs attract your nouns. We don't want to spend another $3-5 billion to do elections in 2028. Take that $2 billion, Honorable Mnangagwa. Come and build a road for me in Bikita. Build another one in Cholocho. Build another one in Zarabani. We will hug you. We will love you for that. But for us to see posters and caps and t-shirts and branded cars running up and down in Harare when our rural communities are not attended to, I think it's an insult to injury. You cannot be putting a budget on how to campaign in 2028 when there's no development on the ground. Take the money for the campaign. Do rural development. I can even start campaigning right now that there'll be no elections in 2028. Let all the political money for elections be put into development. We are tired. We are tired of slogans. Until when? Until when? Until when? Until when will we raise our fist in the air? Until when? Let's get to work. Implement the projects. Let's get the communities involved. And let you as common people, all of us in Zimbabwe and in Africa, when you hear your government is doing any project, take pictures, take videos. If you're scared of posting them, you can post them to me. Tell me what's happening in the community. We will start from today going onwards. I've already been doing it anyhow. From today onwards, I'll put my number out there. If there are any issues in the community that are happening, share with us that data. We will get that information to the powers that be. But for the next 2 years, well, if you hear that I am dead, you know what will have killed me. I will personally hold my president and all the government ministers accountable to the offices that they've sworn into. And if you cannot do the job as a minister, come on, hell no, resign. Give other people an opportunity who are eager to do what you are failing to do. Take my number down, +263 78 097 9220. plus 263 78 097 9220. If you are in Africa, particularly, more specifically, if you are in Zimbabwe, any projects that are happening in your communities out there, please send us videos. Remember, when you're taking the videos, don't take them portrait, take them landscape. You take your camera and make it landscape so that we can be able to upload those videos and make sure that Zimbabwean government and ministers are held accountable. If there are cattle that are dying in the Shamva River because of cyanide, let me know. If there are cattle that are dying in Mazoe, let me know. If the Chinese are leaving potholes and big holes in your villages there, let me know. If the roads are not fixed, let me know. But if your MP is there also, please take a picture of his house and show me the road, and let's compare and see if what the minister or what the MP is equivalent to what is on the ground. It's embarrassing that we have ministers in government who buy 4x4s to go to their rural homes, which are underdeveloped, and yet they claim to be working for them. What difference does it make? It's a shame. It's a shame. Plus 263 78 097 9220. Plus 263 78 097 9220. Send me videos. Send me good reports, not only bad reports, good reports also. If your ministers are doing a good job out there, please let us know. If they are doing a shitty job, let us know. If they are neglecting duty, let us know. If they are stealing money, let us know. We will, going forward, hold this government accountable to every penny. We will get ministers fired from government who are lazy and they are sleeping on the job. Until we meet again, yours truly, Maponga J. Stay away from trouble. Don't do what I won't do. If you do it better. Yes, you got it right, Mpenda. That's my number right there. And please don't bombard me with useless SMSs. Let's keep this number as clean as possible. Send us your community projects. Welcome one and welcome all here on your afternoon channel. Live with Maponga J, broadcasting from Zimbabwe, right here in Africa. I have two issues that I want us to share some thoughts on for this afternoon. Number one, it is the World Cup soccer that is taking place in the United States of America. And number two, I would like to make a discussion around the constitutional reform that is happening in the country of Zimbabwe. So please, you can tag your friends and invite them. And again, while I'm making the introduction, I would like to share my sincere gratitude and thank you to all of you for having made this platform a viable alternative platform for different kinds of opinions on many issues in life. Here on your channel, we're discussing African politics, African science, African medicine, African politics, education, fashion, traditional indigenous governance, culture, spirituality, and everything else between. The whole idea is to get African children discussing their own African problems and finding those critical African solutions. So let's start off with the World Cup that is big now on the world news or out there. And before we even get to the World Cup, we want to highlight that the politics of the world is slowly collapsing, particularly the system of the West, as we have known it. The Epstein files are going to prove to be a big plateau of conversations, of collapse of empires, kingdoms. It's even sad to mention that even some of the African royal houses, some of the African presidents, African ambassadors, who have been stationed in America there for various financial deals and immoral behaviors, they find themselves entangled in the Epstein files. Here Putin appears more than 1,000 times, but of the 1,000 times he's appearing there, it is people trying to make contact with him to connect with Epstein, but it looks like Putin smelled it a long time, and there could even be a conspiracy that he was feeding information both to Israel and also to Russia and other interested parties. He was a businessman. He did what he knew best, use moral excellence to blackmail politicians and get them to do what you want. So basically, America is not running on any democratic system. America is running on a blackmail system where any president who gets up there, the file of his debt is kept by the Mossad and the Israelis, who then go there to dictate what they want the American government to do. So you cannot look at America as a model of democracy. There's no democracy happening there. It is a pedophile environment, sexual abuse, human rights abuse, and an arrogant body of people that don't believe other people have a right to existence. The day I'll take America seriously is when they begin to look at the Negro, the black person, the slaves that they've kept in their system for this long. The question is, what is America with all its human rights, human dignity, sovereignty, self-determination? What are they going to do about the black Americans? What are they going to do about the red Indians? And until they begin to respond to those two fundamental questions, which lie at the foundation of their democratic system, quote-unquote democratic system, I don't think anyone in the world should take America seriously for anything except a capitalistic state that seeks to have control over the world, and no one must hold them responsible for what they are doing. So the Epstein files are very, very interesting. I want all of you to keep your eyes, keep your close eye, your close look to that development, because it is not only about clarifying the involvement of Israel in American politics, but it also goes on further to test the very American judiciary system, their political system, to see if what is in those files can be brought to court, what kind of judgments will be carried out. Or we are also dealing with a bought judiciary system that is equally as corrupt as some of our African judiciary systems. And I want to say it in passing. We cannot take America seriously for anything. Worse for Venezuela, worse for Afghanistan, worse for Nagasaki, worse for Vietnam, worse for Libya, worse for Yugoslavia, worse for Ukraine. And we can't. Let's keep that discussion for Cuba and the rest of the countries that have suffered under this American concept of democracy. So we come down to the World Cup issue. In the backdrop of the Epstein files, I don't know if Trump will make it to see that World Cup happening. And he's very eager to also receive a Nobel Peace Prize for calming other wars and starting other wars. I don't know what he wants a Nobel Peace Prize for what. And you don't campaign to get those things. You just work and people confer those things to you. And after all, the Nobel Peace Prize is a Jewish institution. So I don't know what is so exciting about the Nobel Peace Prize that one has to go out of their way to protest and chant and dance so that I must also get a Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Because Obama had won. So he cannot consider himself as a worthwhile president until he beats the Obama mark of receiving also a Nobel Peace Prize. But that's a man's ego and his own personality. Now, the World Cup finds itself in a very complicated situation. Why? Because America has increased its grip around the world in terms of trade, putting lots of duties, tariffs, and taxes around the world. There are about 193 countries that are registered with the United Nations. And of the 193 countries, only 42 countries are exempted from visas into America. That includes the EU, that includes Britain, Australia, New Zealand, I think South Korea and Singapore and a few other countries that are exempted from receiving visas before entering into America. The rest of the 153 countries are on visa restrictions, trade embargoes, and personal restrictions on those governments and on those nations. And of the 153 countries, we have 201, 204 clubs that are registered with FIFA in total. And it would be safe to say roughly about 180 of those clubs already find themselves disadvantaged in terms of them having access and getting visas to come into American World Cup. I would want to pass a comment. There's no better time for the world to show America what the world looks like. And I think that of the 153 countries that are restricted by visas and other political and economic sanctions in their countries and heavy taxes and tariffs, it only makes sense that it's not worth it to do business with America at this particular time. This World Cup will be heavily contested because countries such as Israel, which in some other parts of the world, they are deemed as violating human rights. Other countries have started walking away from the World Cup as long as Israel is going to be involved in those World Cup finals. So don't get excited about World Cup. I personally, from where I'm sitting, I would not want to bank on anything. Nothing will happen much in that space. Because even the teams that will qualify to go there, I bet you that their team members will have a hard time to apply for visas to get into America. It is sad that FIFA chose America at such a time when politically it is actually very difficult. If they wanted to make it good by the world, I would suggest that the FIFA moves to Venezuela. Yeah. Always support those that are abused. Move World Cup, move FIFA to Venezuela and go and support those that have been bullied and harassed by America. And at least you'll get a little bit of respect around the world, if that makes sense, or find another neutral country somewhere out there. But America right now is at a loggerheads with many people on many fronts. And I don't think that it would be a wise idea to have FIFA there, even if, yes, you're right, my brother Kitia, even Africa can offer a better venue. We have already hosted it once here in South Africa, maybe a country like Congo, or Rwanda, somewhere there, then they book stadiums to nearby countries and the soccer can go on. But not that I support soccer for anything, but I just thought I'd pass a comment also in line with the pending World Cup soccer, FIFA, that is taking place, that's going to be taking place in America. It will be a big flop. It will be a big flop. Yes, Americans will come and attend the soccer. And by the way, Americans are not the biggest on soccer. So I don't even know why the obsession with getting soccer there. They do more baseball, they do more hand and football, hockey, and other sports basketball, that they are much better in doing. But with the amount of pressure America is beginning to create around its own economy and the enemies that it is now raising with tariffs and taxes and visas and sanctions. From where I'm sitting, I don't think this World Cup will be a good thing right now for America. They need to start working on their relationships with other countries much more and much better prior to them hosting the FIFA World Cup. Secondly, I would like to pass a comment on the constitutional reforms that are taking place in Zimbabwe. Yeah. Very interesting time that we are facing right here in Zimbabwe. Interesting times because the opposition parties have fragmented themselves into insignificance. The last time I checked with the ZEC, there were about 150, 151, 52 political parties that are registered with ZEC. And all of them, every one of those political opposition parties, they all want to be presidents. They all want to be president. They want to run the country. ZANU-PF is the ruling party right now, and opposition politics, as far as I can look at it, it is almost fizzled out into nothingness. I wish that they started talking to each other and create what I call alternative politics rather than opposition politics. With us knowing or without us knowing, the Zimbabwean politics is moving gently towards the Chinese model of benevolent dictatorship. However, it must not be looked at in a bad way, or it must be looked at in a good way. I don't care either way you look at it. Singapore is running on what they call meritocracy, where you are hired on the basis of your qualifications if you are able to do the job. England is running with a monarch, with an executive and then the government at the bottom side, the House of Commons, the House of Lords. But they've come up with their own model of how they want to run their countries. Do your own research. Kuwait, Bahrain, Norway, Sweden, Germany, Dubai, all these countries that could be actually be ranked in the top 15 most progressive countries in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, particularly Africans, they are not using democracy. They are not using democracy.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, freedom. Thank you, Africa.